Hello everyone and welcome to Trackmania Grand League Step 2. I am your host TM Scotsman, and today we are going to be at Team Secret's stream. We are going to be following Team Secret.evoN, and we are here for what is my first involvement in Trackmania Grand League, at the very least this season. I'm happy to be involved. I'm happy to be involved with such an esteemed organisation as Team Secret. So we are going, of course, into Trackmania Grand League Season 2 here, and we are going into step number 2, and as we said, we are of course going to be supporting the home favourite, which is evoN, of course, from Poland, finishing step 1 in 8th position, having managed to pick up a few points on the last map. However, has 2 new maps in front of him, has the same 15 incredible players to go against today, but nevertheless, he showed some great things for us in the last step and no doubt has more in store for us today, or that's certainly what we would like to see. But welcome everyone, welcome anyone who is new to Trackmania, of course, any of Secret's fellow fans, or welcome any of the Polish compatriots here to support their main man, and welcome any of my followers, of course. As we said, we do have a new home for the time being. We are of course going to be with Team Secret as announced only earlier on today. We are going to be joining up with them to bring a cast of, hopefully, evoN's journey into the playoffs of Trackmania Grand League Season 2. Now, of course, have spoken to evoN earlier on today as we are watching him warming up on what is going to be the last map, which will be Starglide, of course. He is saying that he has prepared a little bit differently for this week's event, so to speak, as of course each week the maps do change up, the map order does change up. However, the format does stay the same, so don't worry, it will be recognisable to any of those who are familiar with Trackmania Grand League. Certainly not to worry, but for us, all we have to pay attention to is the man on your screen at the moment. Although he has stopped, maybe he's just taking a little bit of a rest here, but we will be going live in 8 minutes time, so set your stopwatches for on the hour. Of course it's 7 o'clock for me, but I'm behind the time for you guys. But we can also in the meantime take a look at some of the opponents which will be coming up for evoN here. We do have a number of great opponents here, a number of esteemed organisations, of course, but we do see actually the league ranking. So we do have all the way at the bottom, we have Aurel from GamingPriv.com, we have Tween from Pittsburgh Knights, Bren from Kamito Corp, Matt from Space Station Gaming, Yannick from Edelweiss, Massa from Berlin International Gaming, Riolu representing Nordavind, Pack representing Molotovs and Marshmallows, our man evoN in the golden playoff positions, albeit only after step 1, of course, in 8th position, representing the one and only Team Secret. We also have Gwen representing GameWord up in 7th, 11 points, and the crowd goes mad. That's what we like to see, of course, for any of those who are Team Secret fans, who are evoN fans. Hit Go evoN in the chat, as you can see on the top right. Of course, the more Go evoNs that are put in the chat, as you can see, all of these little people on the track here are spectators, according to how many people are actually watching the tournament. The more Go evoNs we will see, the more love hearts we will actually see showing up. You can see Carl Jr. and Brenner especially popular at the moment, and you might also perhaps hear the crowd actually cheering for our man evoN as well. But of course, in front of him in the leaderboards, we do have Carl Jr. in 6th place, Afi in 5th, Kappa 4th, Scrappy 3rd, and Spam and Papu being the front runners from step 1. But we are now back onto the map of which we'll be expecting to see us starting on, and this is of course Tree Jump. So this was one of the ones that definitely caught a lot of people out last week. We saw a lot of people make mistakes, and we saw actually Papu setting a record for the highest interval between 1st and 2nd place, and a real dominating performance from the Frenchman. But at least in terms of this map previously from evoN, we did see, I believe it was a 9th place coming out from evoN in the step previous on this map. No, in fact, sorry, it was a lower position he had. He did make some mistakes here. However, after speaking to evoN and kind of getting an eye into his brain, picking his brain there to try and find out how he's prepared for week 2, he has said that he's opted to put a little bit more time into the last 2 maps, as of course, for those who aren't familiar with how this works, you do get points loss for the last 4 maps. So as you can see here in the league rankings, all of these points are what happened after step 1. So we go into step 2 with a clean slate today, and you will get points based upon your position on each map. Of course, map 1 and 2, you can bank your points, you can keep safe. However, map 3 and 4 is where it starts getting hairy, so to speak. We will see 50% points loss if you do end up being in the bottom bottom half of the pack, pardon me. But on the last 2 maps, the most important 2 maps, the consequential climax of today's event will be full points loss for any who are in the bottom 2. But for those of you who have absolutely no idea what I'm talking about, we'll get the TMGL explanation on screen for you so you can see it explained from someone with maybe a bit of a clearer accent than me.
Welcome to a Trackmania Grand League step. Let's zoom in on how a step works. Each step is played under the Champion mode, which consists of 6 races taking place on 6 different maps. In each race, the 16 players will start the race at the same time and will execute 6 laps. The player with the best lap time is given 2 extra points for every race. For the first 2 maps, part of the opening phase, players get warmed up and win points according to their position. For maps 3 and 4, things heat up, and the players who finish the race in 9th to 16th place lose half of their points won from the previous maps. Every player still wins points for the maps being played based on their position. For the 2 final maps, the pressure is on and everything is at stake. Players finishing the race in 9th to 16th place lose all the points that they have won so far. In conclusion, step points are fully determined at the end of map 6. And these step points are then added to the global ranking.
And there we have it. That is our esteemed Champions mode for Trackmania Grand League, explained in a lovely instructional video given to us by Nadeo, thankfully giving us some sort of insight into all this works. I know it can be a little bit confusing, but as long as you stick with us, I'm sure we'll be fine. But of course, as a reminder, folks, although it isn't on the screen anymore, hit TMGL in the chat if you want to bring some support to our Polish man here. Of course, one of the youngest members of Trackmania Grand League, along with Gwen, I believe 17 years old TMGL is, and did perform very well on this map, especially in the ice sections, as has been pointed out there by IL12. Thank you very much. Of course, TMGL is regarded as definitely one of the most versatile players in the scene. Initially came from a little bit more of a kind of technical background, however, has really brought the multi-style into his home style, so to speak, within the last few years. Did secure his position in Trackmania Grand League initially through an internal Polish qualifier, so perhaps the best from Poland on offer here, it must be said. The only Pole being represented through Trackmania Grand League, and did have a little bit of a kind of up and down performance, it must be said, in step 1. However, performed especially when it was needed, and that was map 6. Managed to get himself 5th position and securing himself in the top 8. And the important thing for this, of course, there is going to be 6 steps. We're on 2 out of 6 at the moment, and after step 6, if you are in top 8, you qualify for the playoffs for Trackmania Grand League Season 2, and that is where everyone wants to be, of course. That means your position is secured in the next season, and also you start fighting for the real prizes. So, previously in the last season, pardon me, there was €100 up for the winner of each map. However, that is no longer in effect. Only point scores are going to be brought from this. So we'll see definitely who takes the most points. However, quite a substantial prize pull up for the league phase itself. There will be money to be had based upon what position they get in the league. So definitely everyone has something to fight for here as TMGL starts ploughing through the crowd, as we see on screen. But we are just about to get underway. It is map number 1, and it's going to be tree jump here. And we're going to be starting off with TMGL, of course, representing Team Secret in the second step here, map number 1, again 6 laps, no points lost to be worrying about here. This is just about building up ahead of steam. Now, as we said previously, we have been notified, we did speak to TMGL a little bit beforehand, and he did state to us that he has prioritised his time training on the last two maps. A bit of a tactical choice there, and definitely one I can agree with, of course, as the last two maps are the most important. Of course, we saw the likes of Kappa doing a little bit of a kind of tactical choice in the match previous and opting only to really plough his time into the final map, meaning that he maximised his points gain and minimised his possible losses, and ended up finding himself in a stellar position. So we now move on to the warm-up, 50 seconds left, and then we are going to get underway. As we said, we're going to go back to TMGL here. Now again, of course, top 8 is not needed to be worried about here. All of these points will go towards your total unless you lose them on the remaining 4 maps after the second. So 30 seconds left on the timer. Let me know your support for TMGL, and also let me know what kind of position you think he's going to find himself in after step 2. And we can see who's right. We can do a little bit of a side bet here, although we're not joined by Eric Holdal as he's over in one of the other streams today, but we can certainly see how wrong I'm going to be this season. Top 8 is the first I see. That's certainly what we hope. A repeat performance perhaps from TMGL. However, we'd hope we can see more ups than we did downs. But there we go, we are just about to get underway. The warm-up is over. Step 2 is about to get underway. And as I said, we're going to start off with TMGL. Team Secret Step 2 is underway. Now, Tree Jump, as I said, we did see this being quite a difficult map for the players in the last step. We did see a lot of mistakes being made. We saw some dominating performances being made by Papu, and for some reason the spectators are blowing whistles here. I'm not entirely sure why, but the entire pack ploughed through them as a consequence. But starting off with all of the pack relatively even here, no big mistakes being made so far. However, these players, it must be said, are the very best of the best. You can see the TV screen up in the upper right of your map there on one of the billboards, but we do see Papu once again taking a lead here, and we also see a little bit of a mistake being made. Little mistakes aren't really as important here early on. We will see players crashing a little bit, especially going through the identity. If you've never seen Trackmania Grand League before, you will see a lot of maps that are very challenging, but one specific part of the track which is known as the identity, which is where everything can be made or broken, or it is a make it or break it part. I suppose that's very fair to say. This is the identity. I jumped through some very, very tight trees there. I believe one person's already been deleted by that. Tween opting for a different line there, taking advantage of the boosters. TMGL taking the same line as pretty much everyone else going through here, and actually overtakes with a beautiful ice section there, finding himself in 10th position after lap 1. Now moving on to 2, we'll take a look up the higher of the pack here, and we can see one of also the newcomers coming into Trackmania Grand League Season 2 is Afi representing Team BDS here. Chasing down the lead pack, Carl Jr. and Papu checking out up in the top 2. Kappa and Scrappy fighting very close for the podium positions here. However, there is no medals going for first, second and third, it's only points. So definitely the players will need to keep their A game throughout the entirety of this step, as all the points they can gain here early on might just go straight down the toilet. But we're seeing here, I believe that was Scrappy dropping down quite a bit, and he's finding himself quite far behind here. We've seen Bren, Aurel, Afi all overtaking, and now Scrappy actually down to 7th position here. However, in a 4-car battle, actually a few behind, but who's that going all the way down? That is Papu having to respawn, and last week's map winner here is all the way down at the bottom. But I suppose if you're wanting anyone to be able to recover a gap on this map, it is going to be your man from France, and it is Papu. But in 8th position now, the golden top 8 positions, albeit of course, no risk here in these first 2, but a beautiful section there from TMGL. You see him claiming lives there, 3 people going down. That was a triple kill there for TMGL in that section. However, losing a little bit of ground there to Kappa. Kappa's fighting back. However, showing why IL-12 said that TMGL is one of the more well-rounded players here, especially on ice, of course, is now fighting for some really good points here. However, seen previously from TMGL, he definitely does have the pace on a map like this, and on all of the maps, I actually see Kappa then slamming into the wall, making a small mistake there. Of course, the important thing is consistency. The important thing is, despite having the pace, You need to keep that pace. You can't be making mistakes in the later stages of this and throwing it all down the toilet. As Massa opts for a different approach there. However, TMGL does the switch back and gets straight back ahead there. Tilting the volume up just slightly here for you guys. As we now see TMGL still in 7th position here, hunting down Spam, Massa, and we also see Afi and Aurel having a hell of a battle up there. You see Pack actually going for a little bit of a lower jump there, the risks coming out. Massa and Scrappy opting for a bit too risky of a line there, and Pack and Massa also losing so much time going through there. However, they will get a nice landing coming through there. It seems to be that the end of the track is really TMGL's speciality here, as we're seeing the crowd cheering on Bren every round for some reason. He must be popular, but he certainly is in first place, so he's performing well for Komeito Corp up there. But top 5 so far, and he does have a little bit of a gap back here to Pack, as we see about half of a second between 6th and 5th place. Of course, Pack, a former world champion, so TMGL will pulling away from one, is overtaking another world champion here in Spam, but Spam is a wily old dog, I suppose you'd say, champion back in 2012. He's been around the block, and that's fair to say, so he definitely won't go down without a fight. But TMGL is overtaking. Can he stay ahead? Is actually switching back there as Spam, and it's going to be a battle for 4th place here. This would be a fantastic result, and so far a best result if TMGL manages to get a 4th place here. However, he is very good at the end of the lap, but we still have quite a few laps left here to go. Let's not get too far ahead of ourselves. Making it through the first tree jump section. A little bit of a hesitation through the second, and that's now allowing Pack a little bit of a route back in. But you can see the difference in approach there being taken between Pack, TMGL and Spam. And I don't even know what the crowd's cheering now. Whoever it is, I'm sure they're doing it fantastically. As actually Aurel takes over the lead up at the top. Aurel had a spectacular performance in step 1, but lost all of his points on the final map, so definitely the show is not yet over until the Fat Lady sings, or until the 6th map is over and concluded. Opting for a little bit more speed there, but more airtime does TMGL get through that section. But one of the important parts here, as I said, the stellar performer on this map last time, Papu, is all the way down in 13th. Having lost even more time from when he made his mistake. We're seeing some big names down there. Of course, Carl Jr. down in 9th, Gwen 10th, Yannex, Papu, Kappa, of course, Kappa, former winner of Trackmania Grand League, all the way down in 14th. But of course, sometimes this can be a tactical game, but certainly that's in no means tactical, as Afi flies off. He's going to have to respawn. He's all the way at the Gulag now, and I do not mean the Warzone 1, unfortunately. He has no way back. It doesn't matter how many rocks you throw at his opponents, as TMGL moves into the podium positions here, moving on to the final lap here. Oh, he gets a little bit of a gear change there. Of course, when you get a gear change on the ice sections, that loses all of your grip. So that's why you saw his car kind of stagnating there, almost as if he stalled mid-corner. But Bren must have felt sorry for him there as he falls even further back. And now we actually see Spam and Carl Jr., of course, old teammates, old rivals, storied battles over the years, fighting now to see who can take a chunk out of TMGL. But TMGL's a little bit too far ahead here. Half a second in the lead. And we're seeing here at the moment, TMGL still and a little bit of a sandwich here. There's 2 in front with Massa and Pack here, 2nd and 3rd, with a relatively decent lead up here in 1st place, 1.5 seconds, and then another 0.8 down to TMGL here. But the battle is going to be in front and behind TMGL here, as he's actually been caught up a little by Spam, and Carl Jr.'s not too far behind, but the man from Alliance is going to be looking to get some more points at the expense of TMGL, but can Secret.evoN hold on here? Gets a little bit of a bad landing, but he's going to keep his commitment. It's going to be all in the final section here. Who's going to go for the more ballsy identity? Oh, Spam's going for some more speed. Who's going to go for the final jump the best? TMGL, nice and beautiful there, but Carl now on the comeback. TMGL needs to not get a gear down here. He's sliding through, hopefully into 4th place, but he's actually overtaken, but Pack crashes at the end. And it's still going to be 4th place for TMGL. Pack loses a lot of time there. He's going to lose so many positions. That was 3rd place for Pack, and now it is 11th for the British driver. And that was a massive amount of points thrown away, but it's good for us. It's good. We've got 4th. Wee Gucci indeed, Mr. Wee Gucci. 4th indeed. evoN taking home a better position than he managed in throughout all of Step 1, so that's a great sign going through so far for Team Secret, and that is some good points on the board. Papu taking the fastest lap there, a 1:17.0, but 10 points already on the board for our man. But now we move on to map 2. So map 2 is going to be Sideway here. Once again, quite a few different kind of surfaces you're seeing here. Seeing a lot of grass, a lot of ice, and a lot of dirt sections, and the identity being a series of hairpins using some different surface changes. So I'll point that out to you guys when we get to it. But once again, folks, if you want to support our man, go evoN in the chat. Get some love hearts by his name. That's what we want to see. But we're going to move on to map 2. Once again on Sideway, and this is a map by Link, one of our esteemed mappers from the history of Trackmania, of course. We're going to be looking in this map, though, if evoN can build upon and get a good head of steam, a good amount of points here, as of course one good step can potentially secure you a ticket to the playoffs here, especially if you can build around it with some other great steps. But definitely looking for a good map 2 here from evoN. Nice long ice section there. As Tween makes a little bit of a mistake, but we are only in the warm-up, so no need to worry for any Tween fans out there. That's what we like to see. Let's get the Go evoNs in the chat, guys. Let's get some support for our man from Poland. He ploughs through the crowd, no mercy being shown. Points are all that matters in Trackmania Grand League, guys. Going through this ice hairpin and then straight into a dirt hairpin. However, it does act a bit strangely due to the change in surface here. There's the little boost of speed coming out there as they straighten their car up. Back onto some ice and a little bit of an ice downhill. And there we go. That is Sideway, ladies and gentlemen. That is map number 2, and we're about to get started. So let me see some predictions for the position, ladies and gentlemen. Are we going to see another top 4 for evoN, perhaps? Are we going to see a top 8? Again, no danger being had for any points loss here. However, you want to put yourselves in the best position possible to keep as many points throughout the later stages. Get yourself a massive points haul for Step 2. However, finding himself a little bit far behind here at the start. Seeing a call coming in from SRK that apparently Papu has found a new line on that map, so we'll certainly look to check that out at some point as he finds himself in 2nd place here. But going through this kind of ice, it's almost like a hairpin, so to speak. You need to turn your car 180 degrees round the other side and hold the direction you want to travel in, due to the rather peculiar ice physics in this game. But look at that from evoN. He goes all the way from 6th to 2nd here now, fighting with Pack for 1st place. Loses a bit of speed going through that section here. Oh, and has to release a little bit there, but that was a smart move coming out from evoN. He knew he was going to crash into the wall if he went too wide. Ploughing through the crowd, as we said. Absolutely no mercy coming out from Team Secret here. Smart driving from the young man. Oh, a little bit of an issue going through that first transition. Everyone's looking good coming through here. We can see Papu actually getting a full head of steam, moving up quite a few positions, slaying people left, right and centre. And is that go Bren, go Gwen? Who knows? No one knows, but we'll be sure to ask afterwards. Anyway, top 8th position here. Scrappy with the fastest lap there. And number 1, man from Lazarus from Belgium, of course, runner-up in Trackmania Grand League Season 1, falling only to the might of the greatest of all time in Carl Jr. However, we do have a mix of some veterans and some younger players here, of course. 2 of your main prospects for the future are, of course, our man evoN and Gwen, along with the likes of, say, Afi. Scrappy, Pack, Papu, Massa, all very experienced drivers. Scrappy showing his experience and his prowess as he moves up into 1st place here. We're going to check on evoN here. Gained a lot of positions there last time, lost a lot of positions here this time. Down to 9th, but again, no need to worry, everyone can hold on to their underwear as there is no points lost in map 2. Oh, well, very close. A hair's breadth away from disaster, but 20 points from Laurel, so he'll be wiping his tears with some sweet points no matter what. Oh, a little bit of an issue there going through the final kind of transition onto road there. Finding himself in top 8 though, so that's going to still be a decent points haul. However, fast lap now taken by Carl Jr. He's in 3rd place here, hunting down Massa and Scrappy up at the top, while TMGL is in battles with Afi here. Afi on 6 points, TMGL on 10, so definitely 2 people you'd be looking at for a competition, but TMGL just initiated a little too quickly there to the right hand side, maybe getting a little bit too over eager going through there, makes a mistake and is now in a fight with Pittsburgh Knights. Tween down in 12th position. Only 3 seconds behind though, so disaster is not yet had, ladies and gentlemen. However, for Scrappy, that's going to be 2nd place, going down to 5th there. Made a mistake going through that hairpin, as Tween now drops even further down. No doubt the pressure of being beside Team Secret.evoN, as Aurel parting like the Red Sea in front of TMGL here. Time to get the voodoo dolls out, ladies and gentlemen. Start picking the pins in some of the drivers ahead. There's no such thing as playing fair in Trackmania Grand League. And coming through the dark hairpin, you see Afi and Gwen making slight mistakes going through there. Whoever put the pins in Afi there definitely deserves a gift sub. Massa now taking the fastest lap here and taking the lead here as the German from Berlin International Gaming here by 1.34 of a second. In front of Carl Jr. here, as you can see, the pack is a little bit spread out up here at the top, although Papu is relatively close. But then you look, wait, Yannick's is dead or something, not entirely sure. Riolu's DNF, so we've only got 14 drivers here on track, but look at the gap back to 4th place. However, there's a 3-man battle down here. We've got Scrappy, Pack and Spam. Very different approaches being taken there. Pack opting for a big inside line there, but they then go back for another 3-car battle here, and we certainly know who we're supporting here. However, TMGL got a little bit of an unfortunate gear there, and it seems to be dropped quite a lot of speed. Now it's only a 1-horse race here, not many people in front or behind him. Once again on an island is TMGL. However, want to get some ground on Gwen, Aurel and Bren. The triple entente of French drivers here. Kameto Corps, Bren makes the mistake. This is going to be good for TMGL, and that's 1 down, 2 to go. Oh, Gwen again opting for a different approach, but doesn't seem to be netting him as good positions. 9th position so far. Once again, Massa getting the fastest lap through there and is extending the lead. However, this time on Papu here. Massa looking good to take the win in map number 2 here, with TMGL avoiding the mistake here as he did previously. Yannick's is still dead, or whatever in the world's happened to him. Going through this little upside down section of Reactibus, keeping the players on track. A little bit of wheels up in the air, a little bit of style points. Oh, and a beautiful section there from TMGL, leaves Gwen for dust there. Gwen didn't even know what happened. And now is on the hunt for the next. Ooh, a little bit of a kind of riding on the seat of her pants moment there. Definitely having a bit of hesitancy going through that section as TMGL. That's allowing Gwen to catch up, but we've seen TMGL doing very well at some sections of this map, so this is going to be a close fight here for 8th position, and possibly the ones in front are in danger here. Ooh, Gwen manages to get that nicely. However, TMGL manages to strike back here. Oh, but makes a mistake going through there. Will be able to recover though. Go back onto the dirt and still stays in 9th position here. Closest behind is Tween with a bit of 1 second gap. 9th position here is looking at the very least secure for TMGL, but the question is, how much more can he get? We'll take a quick peek up to the top here. We see Massa is still in the lead, however didn't get the fastest lap this time. Somehow Yannick's got a 39.65, but I'm pretty sure that's a scam. As we see quite a massive spread here through the top. Papu's hunting down Paco here. And let's see through the remainder. We have Scrappy, Aurel and Spam fighting for 5th, 6th and 7th. And now down to Gwen here in 8th. Makes a little bit of an error going through there. If evoN manages to get it clean, he can catch up. Not only Gwen, but Spam as well, having made a mistake. Now the pressure's on for both drivers ahead. evoN may be in a place to capitalise, especially with a beautiful ice section like that, as he moves ahead of Gwen there. Almost as a kind of deja vu, except on the other side of things as to what happened to Gwen previously. And now, 7th position here. There's been a big mistake from someone. Looks to be as if Aurel actually is fallen all the way down there. Getting my words minced, but is it going to be 7th or is it going to be 6th here? This is a stellar start to step 2 from evoN no matter what, but he overtakes Spam in the last section. He's got a great ending and he's going to take 6th position. Beautiful ending there from evoN, and that is what we like to see. But compared to last week, where we had 2 9th positions, I believe it was for evoN, considering we're talking about a man who is focusing more on the last 2 maps, he is currently finding himself on 18 points and in 4th position in Step 2 so far. Fantastic job so far for evoN, and let's see if he can keep it up going into Map 3. This was the map, if I remember correctly, which he did actually manage to secure his 5th position on last week, so definitely good signs here. However, this is the first map where points loss is in effect. It is 50% points loss for anyone who is in the bottom 8. But we're going to have a warm-up of 1 minute and a half. I'm going to turn my light on. Don't any of you go anywhere. I can now see in HD now, and what I do see is a beautiful sight here. I'm seeing evoN up in 4th place here. However, it is a murderer's row behind him. As we can see here in the live rankings, we have Pack, Scrappy, Papu, Spam all on 16 points. So that's a 2006 World Champion. That's a 2020 runner-up. That is a multiple-time Zerator and Trackmania Grand League finalist in Papu, and that is also a 2012 World Champion in Spam. So definitely some incredible names to be in front of, and it just goes to show how great a start this has been for evoN. So, however, for all of you in the chat, let's see if we can get a heart next to evoN's name. I want to be seeing Go evoN in the chat. Let's get some hype about for our man. He's performing well for us. Let's perform well for him as he's on 18 points here. Let's see if he can build more, avoid some points loss here in map number 3. And who knows, today could be evoN's day. There we go, flying off into the dirt site. We've got the horns on. He's in a good mood. And let's hope it stays that way as we are on Switchbridge by Firestorm. I'll explode. Wait, a pause? I'm not entirely sure what's happening here. We will hold fire on this just for a moment. The referee's whistle has been blown. We don't know what's going on. It seems to be all is perhaps good, but we're going to keep assuming so. We do not see driver names. However, evoN currently in the middle of the pack here. I'm just going to assume everything's proceeding as planned, perhaps. Oh, one more player dropping down a little bit behind there. I won't be able to get any other perspectives in this as I do not have the overlay for whatever reason. However, I can give you a good overview of the map. So a long jump here onto the wooden section. Uphill, very fast coming through here. Seems to be a few people are crashing and respawning. Yep, so it seems to be there is some sort of technical or I don't know, any other sort of pause you could have here initiated by the TMGL admins. So we'll get a little look here at the identity. So some poles in the way, but you transition into each different kind of surface here, with the exception of ice, but with some poles to avoid here. Ooh, very close there for Marson. Oh, sorry, Marson, pardon me, evoN. Formerly known as Marson, pardon me. Hopefully it won't beat me up for it. Let's see if I can any information in the Discord. So currently waiting for Yannick as he has some connection issues, so we will be getting underway as soon as possible, not to worry. Everyone showing us some backwards driving. Speed slides coming out. See all the sponsors of Team Secret on full display there. There's Nvidia, Secret Lab. It's a beautiful car skin, it must be said, though, for Team Secret, I must say. Backwards speed slides, you guys know it. Our man has it all. Here we go though, we are getting ready to go, no warm up now, we are just going straight into the action. Yannick's is back on track, and now, as I said, being a top 8 is the main goal of the game now. It's not just about survival, well sorry, it's not just about going for the points here, as it was in the first 2 maps. We could kind of go for a Hail Mary or something like that. Definitely not on Switchbridge, map number 3. Bottom 8. Is not where you want to be. Anyway, coming through lap number 1, do have TMGL currently down at the bottom. Having a little bit of a rough start here, but the identity is always seemingly later in the stage, so not to worry. Plenty of chances to catch up here, and it is one of the tracks which is catching quite a lot of players out, so as long as he can remain consistent here, he can definitely pick up some good points. And a beautiful section going through there means he's going to claim Yannick's coming through this downhill. Beautiful little correction coming out through there, and a lovely drop down. And there we go, there's the first mistake. Scrappy dropping down from Team Lazarus there. He's going down into the bottom 2, and his 16 points are at risk, but Yannick's now striking back. I've no idea what they're trying to say now. I think it's Carl Jr., but it's always a mystery now. But Matt now dropping down a little bit here, and Yannick's still having a back and forth battle up here, and 13th position now, and you can see the main pack in front very close here and very tightly contested. No one really pulling out that far apart from Tween, but only 0.2 of a second as he takes the fastest lap from lap 1, pardon me. TMGL getting a little bit of an awkward jump going through there, but manages to survive without much issue. Ralph a little bit of a wide line there. He's going to lose some time as a result. Oh, and that's someone gone. I've no idea who that was. I think it might have been... it was actually Massa and Carl Jr. actually falling all the way down. So your top 2 in points are all the way down at the bottom with the exception of Scrappy here. So this is great news for TMGL. If TMGL can manage to hold on to his points here and get a good result as Bren drops even further down. Afi and Rielu are falling. They're dropping like flies. They're parting like the Red Sea here. Or whatever sea it was. I don't know. I didn't read the Bible. Go Carl Jr. says the crowd, but they're going to need a lot of Go Carl Jr.'s to give him a chance. Top 8 now for TMGL. That's what we like to see. So many people falling by the wayside, but that's what's important about this sort of format, especially when points loss comes into effect, as someone's teleporting between the top and the bottom here, is that you need to stay consistent, especially when points loss is in effect. But we can see here, Rielu in 10th position is nowhere near at all, and you look at Matt in 9th, still quite far behind Yannick's and TMGL. TMGL in 7th position here. Oh, I had to make a slight adjustment there, and that was as close as you could get to the little bump on the inside there. Tween's game crashed. That'd be a terrible turn of events if that did happen for Tween. You always want to see the players having their chance to do it on track. That might not be the case for Tween. Nevertheless, that is good news for TMGL though. Oh, so close going through that transition onto the grass one. Performing very well so far through here though. And 7th position still. However, the good news here, as you can see, so it's another 0.4 of a second back to Yannick's here, but the great news is 3.3 seconds back. So it doesn't matter any of these players, how far they are back. The main thing is here, as long as TMGL doesn't make mistakes, these people aren't going to catch up 1 second a lap to him. He's a good enough player for that for sure. Also chasing down Aurel here, however, he has not let his foot off the gas, and that's what you like to see. You like to see him putting his guts out on the table, so to speak. He's not afraid. He's taking the fight to these people. Oh, and he's catching up. Aurel, beware, has Wing mirrors are getting filled up of Team Secret's car here. Flashing his lights in the wing mirrors will be TMGL, no doubt. Get out of my way. A nice gap here for TMGL though. Oh, so close going through that identity. He just needs to be careful here though. While you do want to get as much points as possible, you don't want to be throwing away needless points. However, 6th place now for TMGL. He's picking up the pace here. And looking good, but Aurel, oh, he had to release there, did Aurel. But 6th place here now for TMGL. And this is beautiful points here. Also catching up on Kappa here. So 5th place is certainly not safe from TMGL as he is on a hell of a charge here. Actually seems to be someone's lagging out a little bit here. Not entirely sure who that is, but it doesn't matter because it's not going to affect... I get a little bit of lag there, so no one's safe it seems. Kappa though, can he survive? Oh, different lines coming out from both players there. Kappa, of course, a stronger tech base than TMGL, but TMGL certainly will take the fight to anyone. It doesn't matter who you are, as he overtakes into 5th place. Coming through the identity for the penultimate time here. Oh, a little bit awkward going through there, and he makes a mistake. But he is going to keep himself on track, so he won't have to respawn here, and that's good news. However, he does get overtaken by Scrappy and Massa. Carl Jr. also taking a position here. Oh, this is bad for TMGL going into the final lap here, sorry. We'll need 2 players to make a mistake. Or 3, sorry, at the very least, but actually overtaking Carl might not even need that. However, Carl, one of the most consistent players in the game. Not very much one you can rely on to make a mistake, but the final lap is the one of which mistakes are most often made. Yeah, TMGL's closing in on the triple world champion. The most recent Trackmania Grand League champion is going down to TMGL here, going through this section. He's trying to fight back. Oh, goes for a much lower jump there. Aurel makes a mistake. That's one down. As I said, get out the voodoo dolls, ladies and gentlemen. Get the go TMGLs in chat. We've got half a lap left to see if he can survive with all points intact. We have Massa in 8th being the kind of standard here, and you can see him on track. Going through the identity, he's risking, he's going so close to the lower half and to the poles, but Massa's actually being overtaken here by Carl Jr., but it's not going to be enough for TMGL as Massa actually manages to hold on to his points there. Carl Jr. loses some of his 26 by 300 of a second, but that is heartbreak there for TMGL. However, only losing half of his points, remember, so... And not too bad of a result there for TMGL, but that will be him on, I believe, at 9 points plus whatever he got there. So he will be on 14 now, and that puts him in 11th position. But that was a great performance through that map. Having some small issues there, but did still manage to pull off a 10th position there, I believe that was. So... still looking good for TMGL here as we will move on to the break. Will be a 6-minute break between the first 3 maps and the last 3 maps. However, we have Halfpipe being map number 4 here. I believe we will have our warm-up and then we will have the break. Well, let's see how Halfpipe looks for any who were not in step 1 here. And welcome all our Polish friends here, Magori and Tomek. Lovely to have you guys here supporting your own man. A reminder, the Go TMGL's in chat. Let's get some love hearts beside his name. Let's get the crowd cheering. Go TMGL. However, coming through here with 14 points is definitely good. As of course, 8th position at the end of the step last time was about... I believe it was 9 points if I remember correctly. So even just 14 points would still be a stellar result. Identity here is this little jump coming through here. Now I understand that looks very, very simple, of course. I mean, who's to say it's, I mean, it's just 2 jumps. But jumps are, as we call it, a speed check. So a very, very harsh speed check at that. So what we mean by that is that you need to have a certain amount of speed or else you are not going to be making that jump clearly. That's not really the identity, pardon me. Half pipe. I'm getting a little bit lost here. But half pipes, as you can see, Tony Hawk style. Flying through, see if anyone pulls a McTwist. 900 no doubt. But there we go. A warm-up for map number 4 out of 6 is done. Semi-final phase here on half-pipe. But we are not having a break, it seems. Okay. So, map 4 out of 6. And again, bottom 8 will lose yourself half of your points. So that means for TMGL, 7 points will go down the toilet. Again, that's points at the moment we can afford to lose, so no need to worry. Bit of an awkward start coming through there, early on though. Opts for a different approach from a few of the players as Yannick's is the first to drop down. Having a less than ideal performance as Yannick's so far this step, but still on 17 points, so still decent for Edelweiss's man. Current step leader is Massa here on 40. Followed by Gwen on 33. First kind of difficult part here, this double left-hander. Again, you need to keep as much speed here as possible. Not just as simple as taking it so tight. And there we go. Oh, Spam is the one, and he's showing how this can be so damaging. As if you clip that, you do get a little bit of a slowdown. You're going to lose time. Tween also falling down a little bit, losing some speed. Scrappy also falling. Not too much to tell so early on here. Coming through into the identity for the first time. Matt's flying off a little bit here. Oh, Scrappy risking it. You can see the players who are a little bit more confident going through this identity, but TMGL just opting to safe it a little bit more. That could be the play coming through here though. Some players who might be feeling the pressure to be risking it going through these sections to get that extra 2 or 3 points might just throw it all away as a result. So is this going to be the big brain game? Let's see. Are we going to see a 5-head? Who knows? And opting for a few extra drift sets just to make sure you don't get some airtime going through into this jump. Matt makes a big mistake. Still in 14th position here is TMGL, but you can see the pack is very, very closely condensed up at the top. So, any mistakes there, and it can be all thrown away in the blink of an eye. See if anyone's going to fall down in the first difficult part of this track. I do see Massa's in the lead currently. Oh, and everyone makes it through the speed check relatively unscathed here. Everyone's still in the hunt though for Team Secret. Oh, and I see someone dropping down. That's Scrappy losing some positions here. And also Massa having dropped down from first. He's all the way down in 14th now, fighting with TMGL, and that's going to be disaster for Massa if he loses a lot of points here, as even though it's half, that's still 20 points going down the toilet if Massa manages to fail it. And also Scrappy falling down here, so that's 2 positions gained in the space of a few seconds there for TMGL. That's a double kill by anyone's standards. 12th position here now, and a few more to go to keep the points. Salty Casper coming out with the jinx. Don't think I didn't see that there. That's what we like to see. Who are we jinxing next? I'm going to say Pack is going to be jinxed next. 30 points. That's a little bit too juicy to keep, in my opinion. Up at the top, see such a tight battle here. Carl Jr. and Afi, 1st and 2nd. Papu and Kappa, 3rd and 4th. Pack, 5th position. Trying to catch up on the Czech player there. Tween actually overtaking former teammates Kappa and Tween as part of Team Sampy. TMGL actually moves up another position. Who's that that's dropped down? I believe it is Gwen who's dropped down. That's 33 points at risk, and Bren now drops even more. And I believe that was also Pack having some issues through the speed check. Map 4 out of 6. So it is only 50% loss. Oh, TMGL gets a little bit of an issue through that drift there. Drops to 11th. Just taking it nice and easy going through this half pipe. You will see other players trying to risk it a little bit more, but you don't need to risk it if everyone else is going to make mistakes in front of you. As you saw Massa kind of diving through this, but you also saw it not benefiting. Seems to be TMGL's definitely taking this map a lot safer. 10th position though, still in a good position to take advantage of anyone's mistakes. However, Massa actually overtakes. 11th now. Not taking undue risks is important as having good pace here. Lap 4 out of 6 on map 4 out of 6 here. Oh, and Massa falls now. That's what can happen when you're pushing it to the limit. There's Riolu also having a little bit of an issue through that dirt section. Has had a real horror show of a step so far as Riolu. Only on 2 points so far. Oh, and that's a lot of speed coming through the first section for evoN, but luckily he managed to get the second jump smooth enough where he didn't clip the bottom. Now he needs 2 more players to make a mistake, but let's take a check up at the top. Afi, the Swiss player for Team BDS, is up in first place here at the moment. Papu for Gamers Origin in second. And Pack getting just getting overtaken for third place, and now Tween just getting overtaken for third place. And now Tween overtaking Carl Jr. for third place. It's a mess, guys. We don't know exactly who it is, but Tween looks to be the one holding on, and Riolu now gets the curse from the chat as well. They were saying he was doing so well, but now he's down. And now this is the battle for 8th place here. This lap and the next to go. This is the penultimate lap of the final one of the semi-final stage. And this is a 3-horse battle here. You can see for 8th position here. Now this is the golden position, of course. This is the hot seat. Aurel is sitting in that chair, but definitely not all too comfortably. I hope he brought his brown underwear. As he gets blown away, as does Kappa actually make a mistake here. He's going to try and fight back. Aurel drops down quite a bit. Now it's a 4-horse race here, but there's 2 positions up for grab, and that's the important part. Oh, Kappa gets a slow down. We've lost a horse. Now only one of these drivers will then lose points, as Kappa's dropped himself a little bit too far behind. You can see on the screen there, he is just about half a second behind this group. evoN goes really high up there. He's going to drop a little bit of speed. He needs to stay ahead of at least one of this group. Oh, really awkward going through that next jump there. And Kappa's flying through. He's not done with it with these players, but Riolu is actually falling down as well. This battle's heating up, but it is going down to the wire on the last lap. Kappa's looking to fight back though. It's going to be Kappa and Aurel fighting for this 7th and 8th position here, but it's going to be the question is if evoN or Riolu are going to be able to catch up enough to safeguard their points. That's a good section there from evoN. He's going to bite down a little bit into that gap. 900th of a second now. He just needs to get one of them. Oh, Kappa very close to disaster coming through there, but evoN's got more speed and it's side by side. He's actually overtaken him now going through this section, but Tween's made a massive mistake. That means all of these guys can potentially keep their points, but potentially seeing that evoN actually hesitates a little bit going through there, loses some time. Is anyone going to crash coming through here? Nice and smooth. Oh, Spam gets a slowdown, but evoN does as well. Riolu overtakes, and now it's going to be a fight between evoN, Spam, and potentially Riolu going into the final identity on this map. It's going to be last gasp, last chance, and Riolu gets a no slide. Riolu gets a no slide, and who's going to be closest? It's going to be Riolu with 1 second behind, but all of these players can afford to safe it, but we don't know if they know that yet. Is there's going to be points kept here? Nice and safe through the end for evoN. He overtakes Spam in the end, and that is what we like to see. 7th position, all points kept, and more to add to the tally, and that's a beautiful job there by evoN. Tony Hawk, exactly, that's what we like to see. But big points loss coming out here for Scrappy, Yannick, Massa and Gwen here. That's going to shake up the point standings. That's going to put our man that much closer to the top. So, after map 4, evoN finds himself 9th place. But don't worry too much about the placings here. We're seeing that I believe it was from 4th or 5th place. Oops, pardon me.
Welcome to a Trackmania Grand League step. Let's zoom in on how a step works.
We're seeing that actually from here we're going to have a little bit of a pause finally after the 2 maps. But we are going to take a little bit of a break here. So 5.5 minutes left for anyone who wants to do a little bit of a pee break. Anyone wants to get some drinks. Anyone wants to prepare themselves mentally and physically for the two all-important maps here. But as you can see in the point standings here, it is extremely close. We have Kappa on 24 points in 5th place, down to Gwen on 21 in 10th place. So a lot of bodies in the way. But that is us looking very good so far, considering last time we only had one map where we were in top 8. Now we've had 3 out of 4 maps in the top 8. I'm going to see if we can have a little bit of a chat with evoN in the meantime. We'll not take up too much of his time. Who do we jinx now? Indeed, Nalax. Who are we thinking? But in the meantime, while you guys figure that out, I'm going to have a quick chat with our man. Hello, hello, evoN. Good job so far, man. That's a hell of a start to step 2. How are you feeling?
Yeah, I'm really happy.
Really happy. That's good to see. I mean, I was just saying there to everyone that that's 3 out of 4 maps in the top, and of course that map which you did slide down into the bottom 8, you still were performing really very well. So what's changed from last week? Are you just feeling more comfortable on the maps?
Yes, I'm more comfortable and I'm trying to be more consistent.
I
I did a lot of mistake first week.
Yeah, for sure. We certainly noticed that there's a lot of the mistakes that were happening last time certainly aren't repeating, so we can only say, you know, job well done for you. But now, I mean, you're finding yourself in such a tight pack here at the moment. I was just saying that from 5th down to 10th position, there's only 4 points, or sorry, only 3 points, pardon me. So, I mean, what do you think you can do in the last 2 maps?
Well, I think I can be top 8 last 2 maps. I will try to. But yeah, it's really hard, man. Like,
well, yeah, for sure. It's always going to be hard in such an esteemed field like this. But I mean, the first 4 maps were all very hard and you performed very well there. So have you put an extra bit of preparation into the last 2 maps then?
yeah, I did.
Fair enough. So, I mean, out of the 2 maps, do you have a favourite in them at all? Or is there any specific one you're looking forward to the most?
Yeah, the last one.
For sure, the last one. So all eggs going into the final basket. That's what I like to see. But are you satisfied so far with your step 2 performance?
Yes, I'm really satisfied.
That's good to hear. Of course, everyone's cheering you on. We've seen a lot of Go Evons in the chat, and we've seen a lot of your Polish compatriots actually joining in and giving you some good support. So that's what we like to see. But yeah, as I said, very good job so far in step 2, man. That's what we like to see, getting some great positions, and actually you're fighting even for the podium. So I can imagine that feels a lot better than than last week at the very least.
Yeah, it does.
Yeah, for sure. That's what we like to hear. But I'll let you get back into warming up. 2.5 minutes to go. I'll take a quick break to refill up my water. But very good job so far, man. And we'll look to see it continuing. And that is evoN, ladies and gentlemen. We'll check in with him once again in a little bit. But I'm going to take a quick break, just as I said, to fill up my water. 2 minutes on the clock, guys. Be back with me. I'll see you in a bit. Hello, I am back and I certainly hope you are too. We are back with Hoverboard and we are back with Trackmania Grand League Season 2 Step 2. So, we are now going to be going on to Hoverboard by Toner here. This is definitely a little bit of a map, definitely a map which we've seen a lot of players having issues with in training. He actually had to remove one of the fragile block, as it's called, which gives the cars some damage. Actually had to remove that block in the version of this map, as the players were finding it a little bit too difficult, but you saw the identity just there. I'll try and see if we can sneak a view on it from someone else again. Everyone's roughly in the same section. But this is the very definition of a mix map here. We've got a lot of kind of styles involved here. We've got a few tech turns coming through here. We've got dirt wall rides. We've got grass wall rides. We've got reactor boosts coming in. We've got slow motion blocks you need to avoid. But the warm-up is over, and now we are in map 5 out of 6. Now this is what to keep your eye out for. This is to keep your eye out to see if anyone is performing much better than usual. We saw some tactical approaches in step 1. Some people were focusing only in the final 2 maps, kind of exploiting the system, so to speak. As they figured they're going to lose their points at some point, they might as well get all the points when it truly matters. But a little bit of a poor start here for TMGL. Had a little bit of an issue through the long right drift. But going on to the dirt for the first time, you want to keep your gear here and get as much speed going into the ice as possible. That's why you see the big, that's why you see them go so far up the wall there. And now coming through into this long left-hander here, going into the first of the reactor boosts onto the grass wall ride here. Not supposed to wall ride in grass, but no one tells this game what to do. And now onto the dirt section here, opting for a wide line as everyone, again trying to keep as much speed as possible. Just skirting by the spectators there, I'm sure shaved the nose hair off of one or two of them. You need to go for a very close drift here, going into a long jump to avoid the slow motion block there, because that is going to kill your time. And now going into this long identity here, you want to keep yourself over the middle and just release a little bit so that you don't end up clipping that little hole there. And you see actually a lot of people having issues with that. You see that TMGL just moving up to 9th place and actually 8th place now, nearly, just by virtue of surviving. We see Tween, Carl Jr., Papu and Rielu all falling down there. Yannick's is down as well. We're already up to the top 8 and looking good so far. You see Cap opting for a completely different line here. Now we're going to see what kind of effect that has here. As you see, he doesn't get as much of an air time, so he does manage to keep some speed. But we now see Gwen actually in the lead, Pack in 2nd place, and it's beginning to spread out a little bit between the fight for the top 8. TMGL needs to start claiming some lives here up at the top. However, we have seen this identity can definitely keep out, sorry, can definitely take out so many people here, so maybe just needs to be taking it safe. I wonder what his kind of the devil and the angel in his head are telling him. Well, let's see here, going through this little jump. See Spam actually having a little bit of an issue there. TMGL also in a fight with Yannick's, it seems. Oh, this is going to be awkward. Oh, he has to respawn. This is disaster here for TMGL. Can see he just steered a little bit too much coming off of that block, but manages to get through safely now. However, this is 13th position here, as Afe is actually DNF'd from one of the top positions, so 22 points all going down the toilet there for him, but TMGL's now in 13th position. Now we do see a massive gap here, only Massa is close, but this map is decided by the mistakes you make. Wrong overlay, pardon me. Apologies. We are in lap 3. So Massa actually overtaking the battle for 8th position here. So Afe has been jinxed. At the moment though, Massa is hoping for one more to be jinxed. Papu certainly hoping his 44 points don't go straight away. Here we go, so coming through this long jump here. Massa actually overtakes now. We've got a new face in the clear, but is anyone going to make mistakes going through here? I think Kappa's in danger. Pack's down. Scrappy's dying, but somehow he survives by the skin of his teeth. Is evoN going to make it through safely though? That's the important part. He does, and that's going to be some positions claimed. Now up to 11th here instead of 13th, and now only 2 seconds behind. So the golden person here to overtake is Pack. Pack did make a big mistake, but he's still going to find himself safe for now. We are on lap number 4. That means you're going to have to go through the identity 3 more times. So if he can get it clean 3 more times, I'm going to bet you that he's going to be able to get himself in the top 8. You see Massa messed up lap 1 and now he's 6th, so that just goes to show. Let's get some go evoNs in the chat. Power him into his comeback here. He's got Papu and Tween in the way though. Up at the top it's Gwen and Bren. Almost namesakes there. Very close together there though, with Bren actually in the top with the fastest lap. Aurel 3rd, Spam 4th, Kappa 5th, Massa 6th, Scrappy 7th and Pack 8th. Let's take a look here to Pack. He is the man which is in the danger zone. Well, actually on the hot seat at the moment, shall we say. The orange position in TTC, as I suppose you would say. And who's going to manage to get through it cleanly? Looks as if Spam's had an issue. Has anyone had to respawn? No, they haven't. But that's going to mean one more body's closer to disaster, with Spam making a big mistake here. And now Pack isn't too far behind. Who are we cursing? It looks as if at the moment the only players to really make it through unscathed, we're talking Aurel, Bren and Gwen up at the top. Players perhaps all the way out, if it seems Matt's quite far down. And also Murielu and Carl Jr. pretty much out of it here. Yannick's a bit too far behind. evoN's still in 11th here. Said the last map's his favourite though, so even if he does lose some points here, definitely still in a great position to gain a lot more. Oh, some people going for the safe route, I see. I can certainly not blame them. Oh, so close to the outside. I was almost ready for disaster there. Getting a little bit too far ahead of myself. Let's take a look through as Gwen now takes it for the first time. Gets through no problem. Let's see the safe route from Spam. You can just see the difference between the top players and how far Spam is behind. What's happened to Bren? Spam's failed it. Both Spam and Bren are down. And what's that going to mean for the remainder? Can evoN overtake any of them, I wonder? Not able to. I think he might have made a little bit of a mistake as well. Maybe not. But you can see here how close the battle is now. Now the magic person is Tween here. 8th position. Only 2 seconds behind his evoN. Needs to not make any mistakes through the remainder of this track. And he will perhaps be able to catch up through the identity. Who knows? None of these players can afford to safe it, so we will see some risks coming out, especially from the likes of Spam, with 34 points in danger. You're going to see him try to keep every single last one of those. Pack and Papu checking out a little bit here, but Tween is the man who is safe so far with his 8 points. Everyone else should know that they can take this as safe as they like. Now the question is, the top people get through it no problem. It looks like they do. And Gwen takes it, but is anyone going to make mistakes? Bren's falling down a little bit here. Oh, Bren's falling all the way off. Are they going to survive? Oh, Bren will fall down. Will it be enough for evoN? It won't. It will only be 10th position for evoN, so that is 21 points gone, unfortunately. But still a respectable 10th position here, and that will mean a few points being taken into the next round. I believe 5 points being taken into the next round. But that was a stellar performance in that last map there by Gwen. 2.5 seconds in front of Aurel there. A lot of people keeping points, but Spam's losing them. evoN losing 21. Carl Jr. losing 30. And Afi losing 22. As we have 2 no finishes there. As we move on to map 6. Will this be the best one though? Ironically, evoN still keeps his place which he had in the round before, but just with a lot less points now. But let's see what map 6 of step 2 will mean. And map 6 will be Starglide. The point system can catch everyone and anyone out at any opportunity. I suppose it's a bit like Lady Luck. Sometimes it'll love you, sometimes it'll kill you. Oh, let's not get the Pepe Sads in the chat, guys. Let's get some hype for TMGL, what's going to be his favourite map, what's going to be his most prepared map, what's going to be the most highly contested map. Map 6 is going to be Starglide by Link, and it's going to have a very interesting identity here. Let's hope we can get some good points coming home for Secret today. Of course, coming from the league rankings at the moment, this would put TMGL 12th, but a lot of these players have some good points that they could potentially be throwing away here. So it's going to be a question if TMGL's going to manage to capitalise on anyone's mistakes. It's currently joint 9th position along with Spam. Jinx hold the top 8, that's what I like to hear. Cranking wagons for the lot of them. 1 minute of a warm up here. A little bit more of an open map. A little bit easier on the eye. Some little cherry blossoms there, I'm sure we flew through. I have a kind of different style of map. As I said, it's a little bit more open. A little bit more room to breathe for the players. However, it's maps like these where it really does expose the skill of the players, of course. It is little sections like these where just breaking that tiny bit differently or taking a tiny bit of a different line can make all the difference. This is the identity. So little ice sections going into reactor boosts, you need to be pointing in the direction you're wanting to go. Sliding and going straight through. Going for another practice, wasn't entirely satisfied with that one. There was TMGL. And there you go, that is your identity. So definitely one that can still catch a few players out. However, doesn't look to be as difficult as the one before. So certainly we'll be expecting more players to be more consistent on this and also being more prepared. I mean, this is where it all comes down. Of course, if you're bot mate, it doesn't matter how many points you've got, you can still get last. Let's see who's going to survive. Let's see who's going to be crying. Let's see who's going to be going home sad. Nice start here by TMGL. That's what we like to see. At the moment, though, pack spreading out a little bit, going through there. A little bit more risky lines being taken by the other players. They don't care about the spectators. They'll take out as many of them as they need. One coming through this long right hander. We see Afi having a little bit of an issue, and Massa just gets absolutely killed there. A little bit too close to the right hand side, bit off a little bit too much more than he can chew, and the round's been skipped. It's all a scam. There is a pause. I believe it will be technical issues as Matt didn't start, if I'm correct. A little bit more practice time for the players perhaps. What are we thinking, guys? Are we going to be getting top 8? Orel DC'd, thank you very much for the info, SRK. Oh, he did disconnect, that's a terrible shame. TMGL actually the first in that little warm up there. Yeah, forehead. Anyway, be in the top 8 as it says on your screen. That is your goal, that is your only goal. Yannick Snorrell already 10 seconds behind. Nice. Yeah, the referee's blowing his whistle. Is that enough? Who's getting the red card? Who's getting sent off? Who's going to be the first? A few players going into this with no points whatsoever here. Oh, very tight going through there for pretty much all the players. Matt and Yannick's finding themselves down at the bottom. Matt definitely probably the least tech specialised player out of the lot of these. Massa does not kill himself on the outside of this time, but up near the top we've got our man TMGL fighting for first place here. Lovely inside line being taken. Perhaps an alternate approach being taken for TMGL, but has a little bit of an issue, and Pack overtakes. Now let's see who's got the benefit going through the identity. TMGL had to make a little bit of an adjustment there. Just tried to go a little bit too early. Try not to be too overzealous going through here. Not take too much speed. It's all about just playing it safe through these final ones. Making sure that you're taking home the points. Not having them all go away down the gutter. 9th position so far. No, not go Carl Jr. Go TMGL. That's what we want to be hearing. However, he's showing good signs going through here. He's definitely looking well prepared. Different approach there for Afi actually. Will it pay off though? See a little bit of a pack breaking out here in the top 6. Spam, Carl Jr., Afi and TMGL are going to be the ones fighting for the green and reds. The green being those who are safe, the red being those who are not so safe. Realu's made a big mistake. He's all the way down at the back. He almost right off his chances here. And this is looking good so far for TMGL. Gets a nice dive down into that turn. We'll take a tiny bit more speed coming through here, but that section's super important as it's so close on either wall. Oh, gets a little bit of a late speed boost there that allows Scrappy to actually overtake. It's a bit hard to judge exactly how the reactor boosts work, and even harder to explain, but that was someone dropping down. That was Bren falling all the way down. And actually Kappa now battling along with TMGL here, with Papu also part of this fight. And this is 6th position so far for TMGL here at the moment. This is what we like. 3 laps down. Oh, sorry, 2 laps down, pardon me. But look how close these people are in front, and look how close this battle between Papu and TMGL is. 2 well prepared and very well skilled players. Papu, the current Trackmania Grand League leader, both in this step and overall. Took home a mammoth 92 points in the previous step. Almost unprecedented performance there for Papu. But Carl Jr. makes a small mistake. Now up to 4th place here for TMGL. Let's see what he can do with it. Reaching the halfway mark through. This is a scary track. However, can the pole keep himself cool? Ooh, a little bit awkward through there. Gets a little bit of an earlier exit as a result though, so positives and negatives. Nice through there, but you see Papu gets a little bit more of a speed boost. Alternating lines being taken through here. Oh, very nice exit there from TMGL, but he's not going to get the same amount of speed as you see Carl Jr. and Papu pulling away, but it's still top 6 for TMGL, and that's what's important. A little bit of a gap back to Kappa and Spam. It is still close though. We'll take a little bit of a look in the rear view mirrors. As you can see, there's a small gap between TMGL and Kappa, but there's a lot of people behind. You've got Kappa, Spam, Yannex and Scrappy, so just because we're in top 6 now does not mean it's all she wrote, but we can... It's okay guys, we can peek between our fingers. Don't cover your eyes. We're still good. 4 laps down so far. Only Gwen, Massa, Pac, Papu and Carl Jr. in front so far. Gwen currently the fastest lap. Nice coming through there from TMGL. Trying to pull some lines there on the master himself. Oh, little bit of an adjustment there for TMGL, but that's okay. It's important to make the adjustments instead of crashing into the wall, of course, but that goes without saying. Nice there, going through the first reactor boost into the second. Doesn't get the speed boost as intended. Seems he lands just a little bit earlier, going for the inside line there. If that's the way he's comfortable doing it though, it's best in these sort of occasions and these sort of tournaments to do the way you're comfortable doing it. These sections are very difficult, I can assure you. And here we go, so still currently in 6th place. Let's take a look. So behind is Kappa, 0.2 of a second. And then Spam, another 0.3 of a second. Then there's a little bit of a gap back to Yannex, about half a second here. However, half a second in Trackmania is a lifetime. Everyone's keeping up the pace here on the penultimate lap. Looking very good. Of course, Season 1 was essentially his emergence in Trackmania. Definitely coming out from the shadows now as TMGL. One of the top Polish players is what can be said for sure. Going through into the identity, or the second to last time. Can he do anything here to pull back a gap? Oh, Gwen having some issues here. Gwen opening up a door. Anyone going to poke their head through it, I wonder? Oh, that was a decent speed boost there from TMGL. Might not be pulling up so much on the ones in front, but the important part is if he stays ahead of the ones behind. And it's looking good. He has a 1 second gap to 9th position. Final map here now. Oh, a little bit of an awkward drift. Oh, that's a big mistake by Papu though. So that's 1 extra lifeline. But Papu potentially looking at losing all of his points here, and he will. 52 points going to be going down the toilet for Papu, and that is disaster for the Frenchman. Although he is still first, and that's going to be the important part. But will anyone actually be able to overtake him with a points haul? But look at this, 5th place for TMGL, 5 points already in the tank. This could be a fantastic result for the pole from Team Secret. Just needs to survive these remaining few sections and the final identity. Actually, Kappa having some issues fighting with spam here, and this is great for TMGL. Just needs to take it nice and safe going through the remaining section here. And it's looking good here. Final identity, just needs to take this nice and easy. Let everyone else make the mistakes. No one falling so far. Final reactor boost. We're looking good, ladies and gentlemen. Is it going to be a top 5? Coming through into the finish for the final time. And there we go. 5th place for TMGL. Fantastic result on the final map. That was a beautiful performance. Only 1.5 seconds behind 1st place. And that means we're going to stay once again in the top 8 of Trackmania Grand League. And what a performance by TMGL. GG and well played to the young man from Poland. Not everyone's going to be happy with that step though, for sure. 52 points going down, 38, 25, 14 all going down the toilet. TMGL is 5th in this step. That's a fantastic result. Step 2 is won by Pack, but as you can see now, TMGL has 23 points. Might have been overtaken by Massa and Gwen, but that's a great points haul after 2. And looking great for TMGL so far. Of course, some of these players will have good steps every now and then. You see Pack going straight up to 2nd, Gwen in 4th, Massa in 6th. But those kind of players that are continually gaining points, you're going to see them moving up the positions sooner rather than later. But what a performance there. That's what we like to see from TMGL, coming in with yet another 5th place. But hopefully we've got more to build upon next time. So we're going to check in with TMGL once again and get his thoughts after the event. So bear with us 1 second, I'll just make sure he's ready. But there we go. Great performance. Step 2's in the bag. And let's check in with TMGL. Hello, hello. 5th place once again at the end. How did that feel?
Well, the first map was unlucky, but one identity mistake was stupid, but yeah, second map was really nice.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, you certainly did perform very well on that final map there. I mean, we saw that you were pretty much battling up at the front all throughout the way. And, I mean, that's a good amount of points gained. I mean, that's 14 points coming from 1 step. And, I mean, keep getting 14 points like that, and I think we'll be seeing you in the playoffs, perhaps.
Well, I mean, we will see. But I need to get, like, more points for sure.
For sure, but are you satisfied with how this went so far?
Yeah, I'm really satisfied.
Fantastic. So how are you feeling about kind of step 3 now? Of course, we're going to have 2 new maps coming out. I mean, I believe it will be perhaps Tree Jump and Sideway, of which we might be seeing going out. So, I mean, are those 2 that you'll be happy to see going?
Yeah, I would say so. Even though I did good on Tree Jump.
Yeah, I can imagine it's a bit of a scary map, perhaps.
Yeah, it is.
For sure, but yeah, I mean, as everyone was saying there, I mean, fantastic performance in the last map. It's unfortunate, really, that you ended up losing the points in the 5th map. What really happened there? I mean, I saw you had an issue going through the identity, and I believe it was lap 3.
I think I had bad lineup before the no steer, and then I couldn't really straight out anymore.
Yeah, for sure. But I mean, one of those things, I mean, if we take a look at your step performance as a whole, I mean, you take the 21 points plus, I think, the 5 you got from there. I mean, out with that, I mean, you might have even been leaving with 40 points. So it's good to notice what could have been as well, and to show that you really are performing very well so far in Step 2. And definitely, hopefully, onwards and upwards in the remaining of the steps. So have you got any kind of changes up in tactics that you're planning for Step 3? Maybe putting more of a focus even again on the final maps, or trying to nail down your consistency anymore? Talk us through what your plans are for next week.
I think I will still play a lot the last 2 maps, but obviously I won't forget about the last 4 maps, because they're important. I don't know, I think I will put the same amount of practice, because I did practice a lot for this week. I think that's pretty much it.
For sure. I mean, we can definitely see the confidence in the driving. I mean, I was having a heart attack at a few of the lines you were taking, going so close to the wall. But it just goes to show, I mean, you're looking a lot more confident in this season. I mean, how is this season feeling in comparison to last season?
I mean, of course it's better because I can play the steps.
Yeah, that's true, yeah.
But yeah, I feel a little bit better in this Trackmania, I think.
You feel the game's made more of a difference?
Yeah, I think so.
For sure. Well, we'll certainly be looking forward to seeing more of you in Step 3. I'll certainly be here to be joining you for some interviews. It'll actually be my birthday next week, so I'll be celebrating that along with you. So hopefully get some good points as a birthday present for me, but no pressure.
Sure.
But that's been it from us, guys. Do you have any final words for your adoring fans? Have you been cheering you on all throughout this step?
Well, thanks everyone for cheering. It's a pleasure. It really motivates me.
That's certainly how we feel as well. We like to motivate you as well. You should see all the TMGLs in the chat. Everyone's behind you, and everyone will be behind you, for the remainder of the steps. But that'll be it for me. I'll jump out and leave you to the rest of your evening, so enjoy the rest of your day. And that will be it for us, guys. Thank you very much for joining. Thank you very much for Team Secret, of course, allowing me the opportunity to bring this cast to you guys. It has been my pleasure. Thank you very much. And I will join you guys once again next week. I have my birthday celebration. We'll have our celebration when TMGL brings home a whole load of points. And I'll see you guys then. But thank you for tuning in. Bye-bye.